to another video. I am 99% sure that at some point in this video there will be lipstick on my chin because I make crazy faces when I talk. If one of my video has ever like stopped or buffered, I probably look like this mid-speech, so there's probably gonna be lipstick all over and that's a given. So anyway, also I realize the lights are flickering like crazy. I don't know if you can tell, but I sure can. Oh, it just stopped. That's real nice. It's gonna start up again in a couple seconds when I forget. So please just ignore that. Oh, there it goes. So yeah, just ignore that. I don't know. There's nothing I can do about it. Hopefully I'm moving out of this dump soon and can move somewhere where the outlet isn't 900 years old and can actually handle my lights, my commercial lights, as the staff, as the apartment maintenance like to call them. So today's video is sort of requested, not the specific topic, but the idea of this video is like a story time video. Those are so popular as of lately, thanks to people like Simply Nessa, Stepanka, I hope I said that right, but I am obsessed with watching those videos. I go through like a marathon. I'll watch like 10 in a row. I have gone through some crazy situations in my life. A lot of this stuff happened to me when I was around 18, 19, 20. So a lot of it has to do with dating. And trust me, I will reserve future videos. There will be plenty of videos where I talk about that stuff that happened to me. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about my psycho ex-roommate. There will always be a plethora and abundance of psycho roommates. I don't know where these girls come from. I don't know why they get stuck with us, the good people just trying to get by, trying to get along. I don't know if like we're asking for it. Maybe in a past life we did something bad and we deserve it. I don't know. I had two crazy roommates. The first one, I'm not going to talk about her right now because she wasn't as crazy as the one I had after. Basically, I'm just going to give you like some general info so you can kind of gather what I'm talking about. I went away to school last year. These lights are driving me crazy. I turned them down, but they're still flickering. But anyway, I went away to school last year, and for one semester, I did not live in a dorm because I was an upperclassman, so I lived in an apartment on like off campus, and it was really nice, but people who worked there were crazy. But that's another story. So I had this girl, a roommate. We'll call her Brittany. And at first we were really good friends, and then she turned crazy, which, I mean, I knew she was crazy all along, but I kind of put up with it because I was trying to be her friend, but you know, that didn't work out. So then I switched rooms after the first semester because I could not deal with her anymore. So they gave me a new roommate, and they gave her to me over, I believe it was Christmas break. The apartment management people emailed me and gave me all my roommates' new information. So like, let me explain the layout of the apartment. There was a living room and a kitchen, and then on one side was a door that led to a bedroom, and in that bedroom was your own personal bathroom. And then on the other side of the living room was another door, and they both locked, and her room was over there and her bathroom was over there. So we had our own bathroom. There was like laundry room in the unit and stuff like that. So it was really nice, but like we still had to share the living room and the kitchen and stuff. So she had that whole place to herself before I had transferred to her unit. She didn't have the other bedroom. I think that was like locked, so she couldn't use that. But she had basically the whole area to herself. And so clearly she was used to having like everything be her own and having her own space, which is fine. I can relate to that, except she turned out to be very selfish. Oh my goodness. She did not know how to share. So let me get into the story. So I texted her. I was like, hey, my name's Bree. I'm going to be your new roommate for the semester, yada yada. They just told me, stuff like that. And like I should have known that like she was a psycho because the very first text that she sent back to me, there was no like, hey, hi, my name is, we're going to call her KRISTINA. But that was not her name. But for the sake of this video, her name was KRISTINA. So there was no like, hi, I'm KRISTINA, none of that, nothing. She was just like, oh my god, I'm having a roommate. They're supposed to give me 2 weeks notice. They did not. They gave me 24-hour notice, and like in the lease it says like they only need to give like 24-hour notice or 48 hours or something, and they did. And she was freaking out because she didn't have like 2 weeks. There was still like a good week left, I think, before school started, and she only lived an hour away from the school, so like she could have driven up there, which she did. They lived like an hour away, so I mean, she ended up driving up there and like, you know, separating her stuff for me, which was nice. She like organized, left me a couple of cabinets, she left herself more cabinets, but whatever, and then you know, like divided the stuff in the fridge so that I could have half, which was nice. But I thought at the time, oh, that's so nice. But the way that she went about it, she was like so irritated and like complaining that they didn't give her enough time and notice, and like she made it a big deal, like, oh, I took the opportunity to drive all the way up there to separate the stuff. Like, she wasn't saying it like, oh, by the way, I separated my stuff so you can have room. Like the way that she said it in the text, I know it was hard to read tone through text, which is why I kind of just, you know, gave her the benefit of the doubt, because I didn't even know her, you know, maybe she just typed like that. But I figured out later that she was just a total bitch. Like, she didn't care about me, she just didn't want me touching her stuff, which is why she rushed up there, took the long 1-hour trip. Like, I lived 3.5 hours away. This girl lived like 45 minutes to an hour away, and she was complaining about having to drive up there with a week's notice to separate the stuff out so that my stuff didn't touch her stuff. But anyway, at the time, I was like, okay, whatever, you know, maybe she's just like OCD, she's, you know, she didn't know she was gonna have a roommate, she's freaking out because maybe she had like her dirty underwear all over or something. Like, not that I would care, I wouldn't touch it, but anyway. Here's the thing with me, when like something super irritating happens that's like a big ordeal and I get really upset about it and it bothers me for a long time, like I let out my feelings to anyone who will listen, like my friends and stuff, and the person who's pissing me off, I will let it all out then. And then after the event is like over, I forget it. I get over it, I don't think about it because it just stresses me out. So like I don't like to hold on to like grudges really, you know. I just like to let it out. Like, it's not like I forget what you did to me, but like some of the details get kind of fuzzy because I just don't think about it. Like, I block it out because it's just upsetting to me. Like, I don't need to waste my night's sleep over something that happened to me like 6 months ago. I'm over it. So I'm gonna try really hard to remember all the things that happened because they were this girl was crazy. So I'm gonna do my best to remember that and tell it to you guys because it makes a really good story. Okay, so KRISTINA, she was also the type of person to use big words, but she didn't know what she was saying. There's only one example I can remember at the moment. It's not that big of a deal, but if you know how she is, which you will soon, like, it just pissed me off even more. Like, when she was texting me, she used the word commencement, or like when spring break commences, and she was trying to say when spring break ends, but she used the word, and like English was her first language, so like no excuses for her. She was just a dum-dum and thought she was like super smart and stuff. And she like texted me and used the word commences, and I'm like, just to be sure, I looked it up. Commences means starts. And like she was just like throwing all these like fancy words, talking all formal to me when I had just messaged her like, hey girl, I'm Brie, I'm your new roommate, can't wait to meet you, all this other stuff. She was just like, I cannot believe they did not give me 2 weeks notice, blah 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 blah, when this break commences, blah blah blah. Like, girl, calm down. So my family, before school started, my family took the trip up there to bring in all of my stuff because, you know me, I have a lot of crap. So my parents took me up there and we unloaded all my stuff. And when we got in there, like, I don't even know why this pissed me off, it just did. This girl had the entire windowsill covered with her sorority paraphernalia. Like, if I have any pictures, I'll insert them. I'll try to look through my phone and find it. Like, she had pictures of her and her boyfriend all over, like taking up every little corner space everywhere. She had like, you know, like when you're in a sorority, I don't know, they make like paddles and they make like big letters and stuff and they decorate them. Like, she had that shit all over the windowsill. I could not open the blinds. I couldn't put any of my stuff up there, and I was immediately like, oh hell no, like this girl thinks she owns the place. Like, girlfriend, she was an underclassman, and apparently there was no more room in the dorm, so she got to live at this expensive ass apartment with me and the upperclassmen. And I'm like, okay, you shouldn't even be here, first of all, and now you're gonna start acting like you own the place? Like, no. Like, she left me like 2 cabinets, and she got like 4 of them. She was like taking up every inch of available space for anything that I wanted to put up, like a picture or something. She had like underneath the TV, and she had it with all these things. She had a printer, which she never let me use, by the way, and she had like all her Jesus Bibles. She was like a total Jesus freak, which there's nothing wrong with that, but like, once again, this ties into like her personality. Like, she was very strange, and she had all of her Jesus stuff. And another thing that pissed me off right away, I'm gonna sound like such a bitch, but it's just like all of these things together that really irked me. She was such a basic bitch. Like, she had like all these basic bitch movies that she never watched, by the way. She never put them in the DVD player or anything, which she brought her like own DVD player and all this stuff. And of course I snooped through her cabinets, and the entire time that we were living there, which was a whole semester, she hogged like 2 huge cabinets that were filled with unopened like baking items and like Tupperwares and stuff, like Tupperwares inside Tupperwares, like all the, you know, like cooking sets and everything that I didn't have that I totally could have used. Like, me and my other roommate before her, at least we shared. Like, we shared, and if I needed something, she would let me use it and stuff like that. But this KRISTINA girl, oh my god, she would not let me touch anything. She was crazy. So she had all this stuff that she never used. She would never let me use it, and she would never move it so that I could use it. God, I'm getting like sweaty and mad already just thinking about this, because I had put this in the back of my mind, and now it's all coming back so I can tell you. Like, if you guys have any crazy roommate stories, please let it out. Comment down below. If you're angry, if you want to swear and curse, that's fine. I won't judge you. Go ahead and do it. Get it out. Because that's how I felt. Like, I was livid dealing with this girl. So, like, when we got in there and she had all her stuff all over, I was mad because like, I always try to think of myself, like, when I'm going into a situation like that, meeting a brand new person, I would do everything in my power to make sure that they were comfortable, you know, to make sure that they had enough room to, like, I would never do the things that this girl did. Like, I would go out of my way to make sure that, like, I didn't hog the entire wall with my weird decorations, you know? Like, I would take half of them down so she could have the other half. It's just a bunch of stuff like that. Like, I just thought it was so rude. Like, she was thinking about herself. She wasn't thinking about me. She didn't care about me and my stuff. She just didn't want me to touch her stuff, which was everywhere, which pissed me off. So, like, when we first got there, I was like, oh my god, this girl, she's gonna be a handful. And, like, I was talking to my parents, and my dad was like, well, just give her a chance, you know? You haven't even met her and you already don't like her. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but you know, I am a good judge of character most of the time, so I knew, you know, I knew this girl was gonna piss me off. So then, the first day back, the day before school starts, we drove back up there, and she wasn't there yet. So me and my mom went to the grocery store to, you know, get groceries and stuff. And when we came back, she was there, and she was on the couch in the living room watching like some dumb reality show or something. And when we came in there, we're like, oh hi, you know, like being friendly. Like, we weren't overwhelming, we didn't get up in her face, we're just like, hey. And I kid you not, here was her reaction. Hey. Like, it was like she was mad at us. Oh, I forgot to say, the first day that we went up there to put all my stuff and I realized that she had hogged the windowsill and everything, I was like reassuring her, like, oh, don't worry, we won't touch any of your stuff, because I could tell that she was already like freaking out that we were going to touch her stuff. But then she had this little like beaded, no, it wasn't beaded, it was like ropey, like a ropey rug, and it was in front of the door. When you open the door and you step on it, it didn't have like grips on the bottom, so it would slide all over. And the, like, I don't want to say linoleum, I don't know like what material the floor was made out of, but it was very slippery, so like we almost died a bunch of times like slipping on that. So just so she wouldn't freak out, I texted her and I said, oh, we didn't touch anything, the only thing we had to move was the rug by the front door. We just moved it to the side behind the door in front of the closet because it was just sliding all over the place. And I put like, you know, like a smiley face, a LOL, whatever, so she, you know, to make sure that she wouldn't think I was like mad at her or anything. And like instead of going like, oh ha ha ha, I'm sorry, or like, oh okay, that's fine, you know, like a normal person would do, I think she just was like, okay. That's it, with like a period at the end. Like, bitch, what the hell? So she was already like getting on my nerves. So fast forward again back to the first day before school when me and my mom are bringing in the groceries and we say hi to her and she's just like, hey. Like, I can't even do it right. Like, she seemed pissed at us. We didn't even do anything to her. And she like didn't come over, she didn't say anything, and I know like it can be scary meeting people for the first time, you know, especially when their mom's there, stuff like that. But like, I am terrified of meeting new people. It is like my worst fear. But I get over it and I make sure to smile and I try my best to be friendly, you know? Like, I'm petrified sometimes. Like, I've had social anxiety my whole life and I still do, but you wouldn't know it unless I told you, because I'm working really hard to be friendly, you know? Because that's just what you need to do. You don't sit in the corner like, hey, and like scowl at us. That's just so rude. So, so anyway, after that, I had a lot of unpacking to do, so I was like making a joke like, oh, okay, bye mom, you know, I'm not going to be coming out of my room for a while, I gotta go unpack, you know. So like, I didn't bother her or anything, and she didn't talk to me or anything. I just went in my room and unpacked and, you know, was decorating my walls and stuff because I wanted to make my space like feel like my real space. So I had a lot of stuff to put up and a lot of stuff to unpack. So I did that, and then I don't remember when this happened, but the roommate I had before, we would share stuff. Like, if she bought detergent, like for washing dishes or whatever, we would share it, and then once it got empty or whatever, I would buy the next one. Or like paper towels, we would share. Whoever just happened to buy them, we would use them, you know, and then like the next person would buy the other. It was just like an unspoken rule because we're roommates and we're sharing a space, and so in that space, we're also having to share, you know, things like hand soap, napkins and stuff like that, trash cans, but no, not with KRISTINA. KRISTINA did not even share a garbage can with me. She went out and bought her own garbage can. Like, she would not use my garbage can. She had her own, and I was not allowed to use it. She never straight up told me that, but girl, I could tell that she was not letting me use her garbage. My lipstick is getting everywhere. I can feel it. So I had my own thing of soap and everything from my last semester. It hadn't run out. But since she already had all of her soaps and stuff out, like hers, Dawn or whatever. So since she already had like all of her Dawn soap and stuff like out on the counter, I was like, oh, you know, we'll use that one, and then when it runs out or whatever, if it gets low, I'll just bring mine up from under the counter and we can share that one. But no. So I don't know where she would go, but like for weeks at a time she would be gone, and I have no idea like where she went. But and I don't care. But a couple of days she was gone, so I just, whether she was gone or not, I would have just used a little bit of her soap, which is what I did. I swear to God, it was like a centimeter of her dishwashing soap. When she came back, and the next day or whatever, she had written her initials on top of the lid, and then she had written her name across the front in a Sharpie. And she did it to all of her other stuff too. And I was like, okay, like, you don't know how to share? Like, all you had to do is tell me that we weren't sharing soap, and I wouldn't have used this much of your expensive dollar store soap. Like, okay, so then that pissed me off. So, and she didn't even like talk to me or anything. She was so passive aggressive. She, oh my God, it made me so mad. So I took my pink soap out and I wrote my initials and my name on it, and I put it right up there next to her stuff. I'm like, okay, so this is how this bitch is gonna be, then I guess I'm gonna be like that too. The first couple days, she would be like in the living room watching her stupid shows, and if I come home from class, I would just be like, hey. She'd be like, hey. And so I was like, okay. So the next couple of days, I tried an experiment where I would come in and I wouldn't say anything, and I would see what she would say. This girl completely ignored me when I would come in. She said nothing to me. If I didn't say hi to her, she would not say a thing to me. Like, what? Like, how is this possible? Like, no. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna give you some, like, personal details about her. So she added me on Facebook. And when you add someone on Facebook and you, like, are living with them, you talk to them, or you like their picture, or you like their post, or something like that. But no, she was a creeper and a lurker. She only added me to spy on me. So I spied back, and I found out she liked to do pageants or something, and she was like in a sorority, which I already knew. So clearly, if she can get up on stage and do that shit, then she was not so terribly shy that she couldn't even say hi to her own roommate, who had been nothing but nice to her and wasn't even overwhelming or anything. I let her have her space, and I was just friendly. She couldn't even return that. So I was like, what the hell? I stopped talking to her altogether, and it turned into this really weird thing where, like, if I had a friend over and we were sitting on the couch, like, she would just come in, completely ignore us, and we would just, like, look at her out of the corner of our eye, and she would just go straight into her room. Or if she would come out of her room, completely ignore us and leave. Like, she did not even acknowledge us. I'm like, what planet is this girl from? She's so weird. So another thing, I had her number, she had my number. I'm trying to get comfortable here. Oh, I had her number, she had my number, whatever. But we didn't talk to each other unless, like, it was necessary. But during, like, the first week, I had my boyfriend Andre come up and stay. And before we had met each other, when we were first corresponding through text message, she had said, like, oh, sometimes I have people over and my boyfriend comes to stay. So I'm like, oh, that's fine, my boyfriend's gonna come stay too. So, which she never had people over besides her boyfriend, by the way, so I don't know why she would say that. So Andre came and stayed for a couple days, and I just texted her so she would know, you know, so, like, if in the morning we were eating breakfast, she wouldn't come out, like, in naked or in her pajamas or something, be like, oh, there's a man here, you know. I just sent her, like, a courtesy text. She's like, okay, thanks. And then, like, a couple days later, she had her boyfriend over, and she didn't say anything to me. And, like, the weirdest thing is, like, when she would have her boyfriend over, which was a lot, I would know because his shoes would be by the door, but she would never tell me or anything, and I would never hear them. They would be in her room, not making any sounds. And I know what you're all thinking, oh, they're doing it, like, but the thing is, since she had all of her Jesus books, you know, out in the front, like, one time when she wasn't there, I snooped through them, obviously, because this was after I already didn't like her, so I was just, like, looking at her stuff, and she had like, a little card that said she pledged her virginity to Jesus. So it's like, okay, so, like, I mean, maybe they were doing, like, other stuff, messing around, but I swear to God, like, they weren't watching a movie because I did not hear anything. And, like, the walls were kind of thin. There was no, like, coughing or talking. I mean, did they just sleep the whole time? I don't know. And it was the weirdest thing, and I told my friends about it, and they're like, oh my God, they're just, maybe they're robots, and they go in there and they need to get winded up again. You know, they go in there and they, like, power off. I was like, that's, like, the most probable thing that I can think of right now, because, like, unless they, like, go in there and, like, made out silently for, like, 6 hours, I have no idea. It was so weird. And then, like, I would barely ever see them coming out. But it was, I don't even know. It was very strange. It made me very uncomfortable. Then one time, she decided to put her garbage can by mine in the corner next to the fridge and next to the door to the apartment. And that was fine, except she had her garbage can turned at a weird angle, and, like, I just thought, oh, she must have bumped it when she was throwing something away. So, like, I just pushed it back so they were lined up, you know, no big deal. I just thought I was, like, helping, like, making it nice and in order. And then the next day, or later that day or whatever, I'd come back from class, the garbage can would be at an angle again. And for a couple of days I just thought, oh, she just is bumping it, you know, like when she's throwing her stuff away. So I just pushed it back into the corner, and then I realized, this bitch is playing a game with me. She's turning it at an angle. Why would she do that? It started to really irritate me, like, she's messing with me. Like, she's like, this is my garbage can, I'm gonna put it at the stupid angle that's not even against the wall, and I'm gonna piss you off. Like, who does that? I had no idea that's what she was doing at first. I wasn't trying to like be annoying and touch her stuff. I just thought, oh, it's like sticking out, I'm gonna push it back. But this bitch kept doing this, so I kept doing it. Obviously, I'm not gonna back down. I'm not gonna let some little, you know, 19-year-old brat step on me, you know? Like, we're both living here. This isn't your space anymore, girly. Like, back off. So we kept that game up, and then eventually she moved the garbage can over by her door into the living room, which I thought was very strange. Like, that's really gross. Like, why do you want a garbage can right by your door? Like, it had like all her McDonald's. Another thing, like, I enjoy McDonald's from time to time, and she wasn't very overweight, except she ate McDonald's for every single meal. Like, she had all of these cooking supplies that she never opened and never touched, never let me even look at. And she's eating McDonald's for every meal. Like, whatever, you do you. But, like, she would always leave her McDonald's cup out, and I swear she had fast food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And her garbage can always smelled, and she had it, like, right outside her door, and it was stinking up the living room. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why would you do that? I won the garbage can battle. And then there was one time, like, it had been rising. Like, my temper, I was like about to pop at this girl. She was pissing me off so much with all her little passive aggressive quirks and shit. So one time she was in her room, and we had our refrigerator split down the middle, like her stuff on the side, my stuff on the side, and there were two big drawers at the bottom. And I had just gone to the grocery store. And I had all this produce, and it was not fitting, you know, just on my side. And she had not used her two bottom, like, shelving areas for ever. She had never used them on her side. All she had was like a couple of Lunchables and like a yogurt cup, and then she ate McDonald's for every meal. So I'm like, oh, it's probably no big deal if I just put my stuff in the produce drawers at the bottom where the produce is supposed to go, because it's labeled produce drawer, that she had never used. So I did that, and then I came back like a half hour later. She had taken my stuff out and just thrown it in the middle, like not even trying to like put it stacked nicely how I had it or anything. She just threw it in there. And she threw all these water bottles in the bottom in the produce drawer. Like, why do you need that many water bottles cold at once? Like, first of all, don't touch my stuff. Why would you do that? And if you're gonna move it, do it nicely. And maybe leave a note or something, you know? Like, just anything. Like, why would you just take my stuff and throw it? Camera shut off, so I had to go grab a snack. So this girl decided she needed 25 water bottles to be refrigerated at the same time. Maybe she was filling up water balloons. I don't know. This was like the last straw at that point for me. I'm like, this girl needs a serious talking to. But how am I gonna give it to her? She never comes out of her room. I think she was scared of me at that point, because like the first couple days she had been sitting in the living room watching her shows or whatever, and like I would come in and say hi to her, and she'd be like, hi. And then after that she wouldn't answer me. Like, after that I would come in and I wouldn't say anything, and neither would she. So I forget like the exact timeline, but I guess she started getting scared of me, so she would never sit out there anymore. She'd always be in her room, which was fine with me. Like, get out of my way. So I didn't know where she was at this time, the time that she had thrown all the water bottles in there. So I wrote her a note and I put it on the refrigerator, and I was like, really? You really need all of those water bottles like refrigerated at one time? Put them in gradually as you need them, you know, like put 2 or 3 in the night before. I was just pissed off. I'm gonna sleep over at my friend's house later that night. I'm like, I don't have time to like wait for her to get home, like, and I don't really feel like confronting her, because like, I'm not the type of person to like literally blow up at somebody, because I just don't like that. Like, I don't like dealing with this stuff, but if I have to, I will. But she was never around, so I sent her a really long message, and I started off like apologizing for like that one time 3 weeks ago that I had used this much of her soap, and I explained how I thought that like we would share it and I would buy the next one, because that's what I did with my last roommate. And I was like, clearly you never had to live with another human being before and share the same space. Like, I bet you're an only child, because you don't even know how to share or speak to another human. Like, I don't know what your problem is, but you're acting really strange and it's causing tension, and I don't want to deal with it. I don't appreciate like how you threw my stuff around and, you know, threw all those water bottles in there. She never responded, never answered me. Like, what was I expecting, really? Like, she wasn't gonna say sorry. After that, I was just like whatever. Like, this girl. Like, I'm so over it. And basically she did not exist to me after that. Like, if she was there, I just completely ignored her like she had been doing to me. I kept going on with my business, doing my stuff, making my dinner, and she would like run and hide in her room. So I was like, whatever. She, in the winter, would turn on the air and it would blow into both of our rooms because we both had vents, and it only there was only one thermostat and it controlled both of the rooms. And I forget what the exact situation was, whether it was like heat or air. I'm pretty sure it was air, and she would have it freezing, and I'd have to bring my own little heater and turn it on so that I wouldn't die. And like, I'm like, girl, if you need the heat on, go ahead. It's winter and it's cold. We're in the Midwest. I feel you. But she would be turning on the air. I'm like, if you want cold air, open your window. Like, the windows are capable of being opened. There's a screen. You know, they're really nice windows. Open them and let the cold air in. Like, you won't get any smoke. We're next to a quiet alley. Like just open your window. I kid you not, one day, I don't know if it was daytime or nighttime, she had turned the air on, and I didn't know where the hell she was, if she was there or not, so I went out and I turned it off and went back to my room. 2 seconds later, I hear her coming out, turning back on, and I feel it coming on. So I go out and I turn it back off. And she came out and turned it back on, and this continued for a while, and eventually, oh, I remember now, it was nighttime. And I think, I don't know if she just fell asleep or what, but I was like, you're not winning this. So eventually I won that. It's crazy. Thing is, all she had to do was ask me. She could have texted me, that I would have accepted that. Like, hey, do you think I could turn on the air for a little bit? I'm hot. And I would say, yes you can. And I would turn on my heater and it would be good. But since this little brat thought that she could walk around and do whatever she wanted, honestly, she reminded me of a mouse, because she would hide in the walls and hide in her room, and she never spoke and she never looked up. And if she got accidentally squished under my feet, you know, that's not my problem. Another thing, the way that our bedrooms were set up, if the lights were on in the living room, the lights were very, very bright, like even brighter than like these commercial lights that I have. They were super bright ass lights. And there was like a big crack under your door, and the light would come in and face right on your bed and hit you in the face. So, can you stop flickering? Like, just, you don't flicker when I'm not recording, but now you're gonna flicker. Like, she would like be up until like 1 in the morning sometimes, with the lights on in the kitchen, in the living room, shining into my room. And like, I would very obviously be in my room trying to sleep, because she would have seen, like, I would have had my lights on around 11 and then 12, and then I would turn them off, which means I'm in there, which means I'm going to bed, and she would not dim the light, which you could do, or like turn it off and turn a different light on that wasn't as bright. She wouldn't, no, she didn't give a fuck. Like, she just did whatever she wanted. And then also, the laundry machine was in the wall right next to my room. And it wasn't on her side, it was on my side. And she would do laundry at like 2 in the morning, and out here, boom, 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 because for some reason, the machines in that building, it was a brand new building, but the machines were so loud. The machine I had with my last roommate, it sounded like a dog was like squealing for his life. It was horrible. It sounded like somebody was being murdered. And this one was just loud, and I would hear it, and it would piss me off. Like, one time, I don't remember if I did or not, I was like so tempted to just go out there and just turn it off. Like, I think it had stopped before it had gotten that far, but like, girl, don't do laundry this late when it's right by my bedroom and you know I'm sleeping. Like, what are you thinking? And sometimes she would be baking cookies at 2 in the morning. Wasn't for class, wasn't for an event, it was for herself and her boyfriend. And they would be up out there at 2 in the morning on a school night with the lights on. And I'd be like, what are you doing? So since I assumed that she was like a good little Christian girl from a small town who never had to like deal with anything, just got everything that she wanted, I would just play like rap music in my room really loud, and I think that scared her too. So I think that's everything. There were a couple other small things that she did that made me mad. Like, one time, like, she was Swiffering the floor or something, and I don't know what chemicals she used, but she made it smell like a dead fish. Like, it was so gross. I don't know what she was using. It smelled like dead fish all over, and that really made me mad. And like that place was so clean. We both equally cleaned. Like I cleaned all the time, she cleaned all the time. And I don't know, she made it smell. So with a girl like this, it's all about like the little victories. You know what I'm talking about? Like, since she decided to hog the entire living space with all of her shit, I decided to decorate the wall that led to my room with a bunch of stuff. And I put a bunch of pictures of Andre, you know, his modeling pictures, put my Hello Kitty stuff everywhere, like put in some SCARIEST, I think that's how you say it, right? Some like nice candle decor, you know, on the wall and stuff. And so, you know, it was like my little way of like getting back at her, since she was like super passive aggressive and they were like, talking to her wasn't gonna do anything. So like I just like claimed my territory, you know, like I fought back. So another thing that she did, she always had the blinds open, and that pissed me off because like other apartments could see into our space, especially at night with the lights on. We were high up, so like lots of people could see us, and she would always like open them and then just leave. Like, why do you need that open? So like, and this was another thing I hadn't realized right away. I would close it when I was in there and the sun was blinding me, like during the day or whatever, and she wasn't home. And then later I would come back out and it would be open even though it was nighttime and she wasn't there. And I didn't realize that she was trying to fight me. Like, I didn't realize that was a fight at first. So eventually, you know, I think I won that one too. So like pretty much everything with her was a goddamn fight. I don't know what her deal was. She was very strange. I told my mom about it, and my mom's like, you should tell her that I'll pray for her. And I'm like, you know what, I don't think she's a Jesus child, because Jesus children don't act like that. Like, I went to Catholic school and they did not teach you to be an asshole. So I think she was more like a devil worshiper or something. I don't know what her deal was, but I was studying Portuguese and my friend would come over, and since we nicknamed her KRISTINA, we would just talk about her in front of her in Portuguese. It's pretty funny. She was such a brat. I mean, I think that's everything that she did. I'm sure there is more, but honestly I just pushed it out of my mind, like, because I don't like to hold on to anger or anything like that. So I just thought that would be a funny story to share with you guys, because if you, like, I am like the least, like, I don't cause problems unless like you start something, you know. Like, if I'm treated with disrespect, or with the people who work here, like, they don't fix anything. Like, this problem has been going on for so long, they just don't give a f***, like, they don't care at all. So like, I've fired up on them so many times, and like at first I was sweet and nice because I had no reason, you know, like I just give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and I don't understand why some people have to be such assholes. Like, why do you have to be such an asshole? Just be nice. Like, I just don't get it. Like, just think of somebody besides yourself for like 2 seconds and the world would be such a better place. Like, but if you're gonna go and like try to step all over me, like passively aggressively boss me around passive aggressively boss me around and shit like that, like, no, that's not gonna fly. Like, maybe if I was 10 I would have not known what to do or what to say, but like, I'm a grown-up now and I can stand up for myself, and I will. So I don't know, I just thought that was an interesting story to share, because these videos, everybody loves this type of videos, especially me. So I have a lot more stories like this. So if you would like to hear them, just thumbs up this video, let me know, share your guys' stories down below. Like, sorry, I'm looking at my cheese cubes right now, I really want one, but tell me like what you guys would have done, or like what your stories are. Thanks you guys so much for listening. If you want to see more stories like this, just thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.